this all could be remedied really if they just showed a little bit of gameplay. And now I understand that, it's developing games is really hard.
Well, then wouldn't you think of more things to complain about?
Well, maybe, yeah. But at least I would have a visual and like, okay, I see where they're going with this. I can see where I can see it with my own eyes instead of like trying to visualize what they're trying to do, because in that, inevitably people will start pulling from other games that have already been created. Borderlands, Dishonored, Mirror's Edge, like... Oh, what's it going to be like? How's the mechanics going to work? I don't know. And so people
is my motion sickness going to flare up?
That's a real thing. That is a real thing. That is a real thing. People do get motion sickness. It is debatable,
How do these people walk around? Because in the real world, we're first person. So do these people go around staggering into the walls?
No. Like I said before, we have other senses that help us carry on in the world. Like, I have a sense of where I am because not just my sight, but my feet are firmly planted on the ground. I can feel my toes. The balance, gravity, all the other scientific things that you can think of that other than your eyesight. Blind people get around just fine. Well, not just fine, but just some people, like some blind people, they freaking figure it out. They know where things are because of their other senses.
So if blind people aren't being considered in the making of this game, why do you think that those poor souls to get motion... I can understand getting motion sickness from Mirror's Edge. The point of that game was to give you motion sickness, and that game's awesome. But just because I'm in first person, I'm sorry.
But okay, but again, though, I say this, though. I say that this wouldn't be such a big issue if it wasn't CD Projekt Red making this game. Now, if it was EA that made a new IP that was completely different, people would not care. People wouldn't give a shit. They'd be like, oh, that's cool. Moving on. I'm not going to get it because I don't like first-person games, but whatever. Cool. That's awesome. And they wouldn't even go on the forums. They would just be like, not give a shit. But because it's CD Projekt Red and they made the best third-person open-world experience that you can experience in a Western RPG... That's where period. Yeah. They killed it. They knocked every other competitor out of the park with that fucking game. And people were just like, okay, make more of that. Please make more of this.
Okay. There's a level of trust that I have for this company. Even I was not really, plussed by the trailer. I thought the trailer was kind of mediocre. I was like, Cyberpunk to me has a different vibe than that, and I'm more excited about what's in my head than what I'm seeing is more like kind of like the Grand Theft Auto 3 trailers, how they were like, this is a large city, and many things happen in this city. Sometimes crime happens. Like, put me to sleep. No thanks. But the most exciting part of the trailer, I think it was for you as it was for me, was that CD Projekt Red logo because of how much we trust that company. And I feel like I know that you're big into music. I know you have some favorite bands that, like, if these bands said our next album is going to be a kazoo album, you would not question them. Okay, you would get excited.
True. That's not true.
You would get excited for
that's
the kazoo.
Not true.
I'll give you an example.
I will give. Okay, I'll give you a couple examples. Metallica. What was it? Some Kind of Monster. No, that was the documentary. But Saint Anger.
They cut their hair. They cut their hair. And it was over. Yeah, Saint Anger. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
And then I'll give you another example. I don't know if you're into Panic at the Disco at all. Remember when Panic at the Disco first came out in 2006 or 2005? That was a fucking great record. It was amazing. It was like techie. It was like kind of techno, but rock, and it was kind of like Fall Out Boy, but not really, and it was super cool. Then they come up with the second record, and it's fucking Beatles. It's like, what? I like the Beatles, and it's a great record at looking at it upon reflection, but when it first came out, people were like, what the fuck is this? This isn't Panic at the Disco. This is the Beatles This is the Beatles. I'll listen to the Beatles. I don't need to listen to this. But yeah.
So you think like, and I feel like there's so many times when that has happened where it's like you hear the song and you hear the song and sometimes I hear a song that's so good, I almost feel sad because I know that nothing else that band has made is going to be as good as that song. But then you hear another song by the band, and it's disappointing, not just because the song is bad, but because that band didn't know why the first song was good. And if they had, they could have tapped into that, and they could have said, you know, we found a kind of winning formula for something good that we're known for. So you're worried that CD Projekt Red is like the band that's like, ugh, I hate that I got famous off The Witcher. I'm going to do what I wanted to do the whole time and put out this other garbage. I think now that I look at it that way, that is a valid excuse.
I actually had another analogy. I don't know if you'll agree with this analogy, but I thought it was kind of funny. Where is it? Hang on. My analogy was, hang on, let's make sure that I got it right. Okay, let's say for example, you're a horror movie buff. You love horror movies. You've watched them all, and there's the one director that's like the horror movie guy. You know, like he's Guillermo del Toro, but he kind of does other things too. But like, let's just say someone like Guillermo del Toro, who does specifically horror movie genres. That's what he does. Okay. And then he announces his new movie, and it's a teaser. Boom! Fucking Guillermo del Toro's new movie is coming out in 2019, blah, blah, blah. And then you're like, oh, I'm super excited. 2 years go by. And you're like, okay, cool, man. And then he announces the cast, and you're like super stoked. Oh, I wonder who it's going to be. Is it going to be Joaquin Phoenix? Is it going to be freaking, who's another great actor? Whatever, it doesn't matter.
Jared Leto.
Like, who's it going to be? Jean Claude Van Damme.
Hello. Do you want to play a game?
Not on your life.
Wait, what? Huh? Wait a minute. Jean-Claude Van Damme. What? Now, personally, I love me some Jean-Claude Van Damme, and I would totally watch that movie. But if you're a super horror movie buff, you'd be kind of pissed. You'd be like, what the fuck is Jean-Claude Van Damme doing in my director's horror movie? How dare you?
No, I think it's funny that you bring up Guillermo del Toro specifically because he is the Creatures guy, but he's also an amazing director, and he's not just known for the same Creatures guy that did Hellboy and Hellboy 2 is the same guy that also made the Pan's Labyrinth, which was a beautiful, absolutely gorgeous movie.
True.
And so it's like, you know, when that band comes out with another song that's just as amazing for a different reason, it's like twice as cool.
Okay,
so
yeah,
I can give them the benefit of a doubt to say, okay, you know, here was my guy. He's horror, and now he's going to make a romantic comedy. It's like, but we all have a huge amount of respect for directors that do that come out with something new, and it's awesome. And you're like, I'm so glad that they went there, because what they're proving is that they're good. CD Projekt Red could, with this game, prove that they're good at making games.
Oh, sure, yeah.
And they didn't just trip into something with The Witcher 3.
Right, absolutely. You're absolutely right. Point taken. However, you would honestly, you should still have a little tiny bit of doubt if Jean-Claude Van Damme was in like a horror movie buff's movie, horror movie director's movie. You know, just a little bit.
I'm actually, now that you've brought him up, I hope he's doing the voices for every character in Cyberpunk 2077, because I would buy that game 3 times.
Well, I think we've talked about it. There are logical and reasonable reasons why people would be upset, you know, and I'm one of them. I don't think they should change for my selfish reasons at all. I'm just voicing my, you know, I'm not the only gamer that's like this. You know, I might be a little more picky than the general group of gamers that are out there. I think most people are like, you know, they just pick up a game and they play anything as long as it's good. And God, you know, good job, good on you for, you know, being that sort of gamer. But
you have standards, you have criteria.
No. I do. Well, standards and criteria have kind of been forced upon me because I'm not 12 anymore, and I don't have as much time to, you know, play, you know, as many games as possible, because I have a life, I have a job, I have a wife, I have a dog, I have things to take care of and be an adult about. So I have I only have a finite amount of time to dedicate to gaming. So now it kind of is forced on me is like, okay, what genres of games do I really, really like? Because now my time is very important to me. It's a lot more important to me than it was when I was 12, and I had time to broaden my horizons and play all these sorts of different games and figure out what I really liked. But now I was like, okay, I like role-playing games, adventure games, games that have a narrative. I like this. I like third-person games, and these are the ones I'm going to get. These are the ones I'm going to buy. I'm going to try them out, like on the.
That's fair. That's 100% fair. It really is. I mean, I can see kind of when you put it like that. I can see how if you have in your mind a catalog of every game that you love, and it looks like this, and you have a catalog of every game you don't like, and it looks like this, and all of a sudden you find out that Cyberpunk has been moved from this category because of the first person. Now it's being put and it's being compared to games that you don't like.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly right. And then look, man, people love Dishonored, they love Borderlands, they love those games, and those games have been successful, and by all means.
But you are not those people, though.
I'm not those people.
Exactly.
I'm not those people. And so it kind of sucks. And it sucks so much that I had to voice my opinion about it and make a whole, 11-minute video about it, put it on YouTube, which was a lot because I voiced opinion because I felt strongly about it and because I'm trying to get better at like making videos and stuff.
I liked that video a lot. I thought that was one of the best ones that you've made. I really like not just seeing or talking about a game, or when I describe a piece of a game, like to see it in action. And you put that on that. So I feel like the quality of these are getting better.
Thanks.
I hope that you don't expect that to continue if you keep asking me to be in them. But you know what? I'll do my best.